Beyond Good and Evil. Have you guys followed it much, Jared and Adam?
I probably know what you know, but well, maybe not as much. If you've like looked super into it, I try. Like I searched for news when I first heard about it. I really tried when they released that trailer, right? The cinematic trailer. When they released that, I really wanted to know a lot about it. So I delved super deep, but couldn't find anything really. And I didn't really get a pure explanation of what Beyond Good and Evil 1 even was. They released in like 2003 or something like that for the PS2 or something, right?
Right.
Forever ago. 15 years is a long time to wait for a sequel to a game. So I don't even know if it's even going to be anything like the first one.
Okay, so Beyond Good and Evil 2, Beyond Good and Evil 2, it's not a sequel. Okay? And I really hesitate on calling it a prequel, even though the developers kind of say it's a prequel. But what they're doing is they're starting over. They're telling the story from the very beginning before the first one. Okay. So that's why it's a prequel. But there are things they wanted to do with Beyond Good and Evil that they couldn't because they were limited technically. They were limited by technology, and they couldn't do what they envisioned. So a lot of people are saying, well, I don't like this new Beyond Good and Evil 2 because it's not traditional like the first one. It has nothing, that they're just adding too many things. No, this is what they wanted the first one to be, but they couldn't do it back then. Now they can.
Did you always want to do a prequel?
No.
Next question. Thank you.
No, of course, no. The first idea with Beyond Good and Evil was to make three games, a trilogy. But when we started thinking about doing the next game, we thought that the world of Beyond Good and Evil was so big, so dense, that it would be a shame not to talk about it, talk about the origins, where the hybrids are coming from, what is System 4, this planet. Who is Jade? This is Jade, for the one who knows Beyond Good and Evil, she's very mysterious. She's got a dark side.
No spoiling.
We want to go deeper into all these things. There are pirates in Beyond Good and Evil 1. They are very mysterious. So now we are going to develop all these characters, story, and we will continue going through the episodes, and through the story of this world. But first, we wanted to go back to the roots.
Okay.
So now they're able to. They're like, okay, well, let's start over. Let's go prequel a little bit. Tell the story from the before, and lead up to, and just retell the whole story. Now, what it is this is an open world game, an open star system game, and what you have in it is you have genetically altered hybrids that they're making, that humans are making, and it's slavery.
We said, okay, our world is based on hybrid. They are used as slaves. They can be a product, they can be sold. So they are like a mix between object and real creatures. And some people on the Space Monkey website, some people from the community, they said, but you don't need the future for that. This is actually today. This is happening. You have like those chicken or pigs or whatever. They are like
super
products.
exploited.
Overexploited. So it's not really us trying to talk about this and that subject. It's also feedback from the community about, yes, this is something you have in your game. This is something you have, but it's already happening in our world. And the discussions are very interesting and very intense. And people, they agree, so they don't really agree, but it's always about sharing ideas and more than everything, thinking about what's important. When you're playing a game, you can do a good score, you can evolve, have XP and things like that, but the experience, what you get at the end, is very important. So this kind of theme, about what's happening in the world, the reason for this and that is very interesting.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people from South Africa talk to us, of course, about apartheid, which they've lived every day. But in any case, you saw a number of there are a lot of the key themes and that have inspired a number of concept arts also, and ideas that we're working on. A couple cool ones, a couple scary ones, like the idea that there's a couple of the Space Monkeys talked about hunting, having rich corporate hunting expeditions, as if we were going to go to Africa and hunt for rhinos and bring their horns back. So that was something that we thought was a frightening concept, doing psychological experiments with them, creating entire hybrids, specialized armies, all these different ideas we're working on to integrate them into the world.
So you've got, they're making human pigs and giving them to kids as pets. And then when they get older, they're not cute anymore. So they send them off, and now they're slaves to go out and get radioactive meteorites that crash on the planet, and they probably die from that, or they're used as servants or whatever. They also use them for bodyguards. They use them for murders. They use them for anything you would want to use somebody for. They use them for that. There's even they even use them in sex trade. So it goes really in depth, and what you have is you have some of these hybrids that are free, and those free hybrids are pirates, and so you're going to be playing a pirate, and I think that's really cool. You're a space pirate. Well, you could play a space pirate. You could play the game in many different ways.
We asked the Space Monkeys, what kind of pirate would you want to be?
I think we've got a little image of, there we go. So these are, again, the suggestions that, all the ideas that you guys had and suggested. And so everyone has to realize there were hundreds and hundreds of posts. And so we just sort of analyzed the number and tried.
It's a job just to read them.
Yeah, it's true. But there are lots of, so we sort of honed it down to a couple of the most significant answers that people seem to come back to. There was this notion that one of the most important notions, and everyone seemed to agree on it, was the importance of freedom. Pirate, that's really their rock anthem. They want to be free, and everyone was really interested in the idea of being able to play who they want to be, who they are, whether they consider themselves the evil, psychopathic, bloodthirsty pirate, or the or on the complete opposite end of the scale. Some people talked about being a knight in shining armor. That's definitely Michel.
I also like the stick it to the man thing.
Exactly. Yeah, there was a good number of people that thought it was important that even though they were pirates and free, that some of them could stand for things that were bigger than themselves and maybe defend some of the hybrids that might be slaves in this world. Others just wanted to explore the whole universe and be treasure hunters, as opposed to some wanted to board vessels and they were obsessed with that. Discovering the unknown was an incredibly important theme from the Space Monkeys' point of view. And we love this idea that the pirates are neither good nor evil, which really ties into the whole notion of beyond good and evil.
Yeah. We really choose the pirates for this main reason, because they represent freedom for within the story we are telling, but also freedom for the player.
And this is what's interesting about the game, is you could play it in so many different ways that but there's a story structure that you can follow at the same time as you're making your own path.
And I know that and that's part of the Space Monkey program, the discussions. We have seen debates about but is there still a story? Because if I can build my story, it's a kind of generated thing, and people sometimes were afraid, the Space Monkeys, you were afraid that you would not retrieve, this feeling of living a story, strong story, because maybe if there is too much freedom, then it's chaos and you don't have story. And it's our job with you, with your comments, to create a game where you have a story with strong characters, with traveling, adventure, unique places, not generated stuff, not mathematical or procedural stuff, but real, places with an history and characters.
Contact.
So this is things people will share, but the way they will navigate through this world, through this story, can change, can be different depending on your choice. Not just your choices, but the kind of spaceship you will customize, the kind of crew you will have, the kind of actions you will have into the world. But again, the big world, the big cities, the history of the world and the secrets of that world, this is something that is part of the big story of Beyond Good and Evil. So it's a mix between a real story that you could have in many adventure games and this freedom, and which is more about how you evolve into this game. Okay.
And it's got 4-player co-op, so you and 4 players can go in at it and play and do whatever you want. But Beyond Good and Evil, it's a handcrafted game aided by procedural generation. So the procedural generation is there just because it needs to be there to make the planets big. The cities and the content, the assets, the characters, the spaceships, the vehicles, everything other than the size of the planet is all going to be handcrafted art. Okay, so they don't want to do procedural cities. They want to make these cities feel real. They want to make them thrive and feel like a living, breathing city with a lot of depth to them. So this is a massive prequel to Beyond Good and Evil 1. But you don't need to have played the first one because they said that they're pretty much starting over and retelling the story in a more detailed way. And now that technology has advanced, they can make a more detailed game the way that they had dreamed it the first one would have been. So what got me into this game was how big Beyond Good and Evil was. And now this, this poses a big problem, especially with the internet always. Every time there's a space game that has the word procedural or the word seamless transition, seems to always you always see the comments, oh, I hope this doesn't end up like No Man's Sky, or I hope they succeed where No Man's Sky failed, or oh great, another No Man's Sky. Technology is advancing to the point now where we can have a video game where we can go out into space and go to another planet. That doesn't mean we have to connect it to a game like No Man's Sky. Do you guys agree?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems like any space game nowadays, everyone's like, what No Man's Sky should have been in the comment section or whatever, just because No Man's Sky is probably one of the more well-known games. But the same could be said with any game. Like if a new World War I shooter or something comes out, everyone's like, oh, it's just Call of Duty, or, people are always going to have those comparisons. But I definitely get what you're saying with the fact that everybody compares games to No Man's Sky now. But I think this is its own thing. This is going to be more open world. It's going to have, storyline. Graphics are mind-blowing. So yeah, I don't think they even thought about No Man's Sky when they were making this. I think it's just, they're doing their own thing. So. Oh
yeah.
But everyone's gonna have those comparisons.
Yeah, I think they started actually development on this before No Man's Sky was even announced. I don't know if procedural planets were a part of that just yet, but so I
think it was website, like back in 2008, right? I think 2008.
I think so.
They were like interviewed and said that they were working on pre-production, but they hadn't got it approved by Ubisoft yet. So it's been in the works for a while.
Right. If you go to the website, it says that this, let's talk about how big the scale of this game. If you go to the website, it says that it's one solar system, one star system. But I got mixed feelings on that because they keep throwing the word around universe, but that could be like the universe of DC or the universe of Marvel or things like that. But what got me really confused is Michel Ancel, I think his name is. He was in an interview and he talked about how he used the word galaxies. So the quote that he said was that you can steal ships in the game. So it's like Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you can go down and steal somebody's ship. So you could also have multiple ships that you can park into your mothership. And he said, and you could take those ships with you when you go to other galaxies.
And so when you're arriving into a new galaxy, a new place, you can use those ships you've brought from different places.
So I'm really confused. In my personal opinion, I would like them to keep this to one star system and not other galaxies, and maybe if they're gonna maybe 2-star systems. But I really want them to really focus on these planets and give these planets real life and really amazing places to explore and things to see, because they talk about going up into the mountains and there's monks up there.
Yeah.
That hide out in the mountain, and they created this religion that the monks actually worship. So it's really cool. You don't know what you're going to see, but I really hope they keep it down to 1-star system. I know that sounds kind of stupid to say that, but I'd want them to just focus all their content and all their handcrafted art on these planets here that that we see in the trailer, or the ones that are going to be in the star system. Okay, so what we know about, I'm just going to give a quick brief explanation of what we know. We know we got large planets. Each one of these planets have multiple biomes, and they're not empty either. They're going to fill them with things to do and make it fun to be on a planet. Mostly handcrafted, large living cities with story, lore, missions, side missions, vehicles to steal, trouble to get into, no loading screens anywhere in the game as you leave the planet or enter, no loading screens as you come out of the shops or ships. The entirety of the planets are explorable with mountainous regions where you could find monks worshiping, as they have created a fictitious religion in the game. Icelands and other beautiful landscapes. Not only will taking pictures in this game be fun, and how we do in No Man's Sky, but if you take a picture and you show it to an NPC in the game, it will know what it's looking at. It'll know that it's looking at a tree. And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it'll create dialogue with that as well. So that's really, really, really super cool. And then you could start dialogue with them, progress the story, things like that. What's really cool about it is the character customization actually uses a DNA tool. So you could actually mix DNA between a shark and a tiger, or a shark and a buzzard together to create your own hybrid. And when you go to some of these planets and some of these locations and things like that, the NPCs will know what you are, because it'll be able to read the DNA tag. So that will also be immersive. They will know that you're part shark and part lion, or part shark and part alligator, or something like that. And you can mix and match the DNAs together like that. The character customization on this game is the best I've ever seen in any game. But we will be deep diving into Beyond Good and Evil. We'll be taking closer looks at Beyond Good and Evil until we were caught up on all known details, and to cover everything as it comes out from there on. And so I am super proud to announce that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is now a staple game on Cobra TV that will be covered as it is being developed. Videos we have planned for the following weeks include, and these are separate videos, planets, a video on planets, a video on cities, characters, character customization, ships, ship customization, NPCs, story, multiplayer, game mechanics, and so much more. I mean, there's so much more we could talk about. There's a lot of information out there, so I cannot wait to start talking about Beyond Good and Evil. And I'm going to be recording a video today, but I might not have uploaded today. And we're going to be talking about the planets first. And so I can't wait for that. I'm stoked. I can't wait. I mean, this game, it looks like it might not be out until 2019 or 2020. So we got plenty of time to talk about this game.
Yeah.
And get excited for it. So no hurry. It's not going to be out for a while. It's been in development for quite a bit. But I do think that we're going to be seeing this game at E3 this year.
Hopefully.
I have a question about it. I don't know if you have the answer. Is there any type of loot mechanic where you pick up loot? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yes. You're a pirate, dude. You could steal.
Okay. Just wondering. Like, that's what sells games for me. Like, if it has loot, I'm gonna play it. There's so many games that are being made that are so huge. Right? You've got this. You've got Anthem by BioWare, another open world game that may or may not be like Destiny. You've got Cyberpunk 2077, which is mind-blowing already. If you don't know anything about Cyberpunk, I could talk about that on here if you want. There's so many games.
What is it? Cyberpunk 2027?
Cyberpunk 2077. I have a question first. How long do you plan for the podcast to be today?
Oh, about an hour. So
an hour?
Yeah, why? What's up?
Something that just came up, and I want to be able to come back, but if it's, I don't know how long it's going to take. Yeah, is it all right if I jump out real quick, then jump back in
sure,
like 20 minutes?
Yeah, take care of business, dude. Yep.
Yeah, I gotta get something done. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Thank
buddy.
you.
All right.
Enjoy the
Be
show
safe.
while I'm gone. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah.
So Cobra, did they say what systems this game's coming out for, or it's just they just announced that it's coming out that date?
I believe it's coming out for consoles, PS4 and Xbox.
Okay.
I know Beyond Good and Evil 1 was on PS4 and Xbox. I'm sure the info's out there. I was more focused on the details and things, taking notes and stuff like that, and just automatically assumed that it was going to be on both since the first one was on both. But it's Ubisoft, too. I mean, and to some people, that's a bad thing. But, you know, and I'm also a space monkey as well. So they have this website. If you go to bgegame.com, and that's the Space Monkey program. And what's really cool about the Space Monkey program is that you get to go into this forum, kind of, and they ask these questions like, what kind of pirate do you see yourself being? And what you do is you tell them, and they go through that, and that's their homework. That's what they work on. That's what they work from. Your input, my input, our input. So they're not making the game the way they want it to be made. Space Monkey program is made for us to help them develop the game, and they share. They're very transparent. They're not shy to show you what they're working on. They got concept art that is just amazing, and they love talking about their game, and they love showing it. So, yeah.
So I want to kind of go back and kind of so I can compare the two when the new one comes out.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking about maybe doing a playthrough on it as well.
Oh, that would be cool.
Maybe, yeah. Once we get deep into covering this, I think we'll do something like that. It's something that I wish I would have done when we were covering No Man's Sky, is go ahead and do a playthrough on Joe Danger when No Man's Sky was being developed. I thought, you know, I always kicked that idea around and I never pulled the trigger on it. But I think once we get deep into covering Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think I will possibly do a playthrough from beginning to end on that. But yeah, this game has so many possibilities to it, man. I mean, just the fact that it is procedurally generated for the size, but it's handcrafted for the detail. That's that's perfect. Which is one of the known cities that will be in the game, and there's a religious statue right there in the front. And during that presentation, he stood him on the very top of the hat there, and backed up. And if we were looking at the Space Monkey from this far of a distance, you wouldn't even be able to see it.
Yeah, I saw that video. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You just don't see that scale anywhere.
Yeah. And so that's one of the cities right there. And the cities, like I said, the cities are going to be handcrafted. It's going to be alive. There's going to be a story there. You could deliver pizzas. You're going to start out as a person who's like you could create your own character, customize your own character, and you'll start out as someone who's either living off, you could do crime to get money and to move up and to buy your ship and things like that, or you can start out delivering pizzas. And he gave an example of how immersive this game is by saying you might deliver a pizza to a mothership that is parked somewhere outside the city. And when you go inside, because the mothership is another part of the game, you could explore the mothership. You could deliver the pizza, and you don't have to leave, he said. You could explore around and talk to all the other NPCs. And he said you will probably find another NPC in there who might start a dialogue with you, who will lead to another part of the story or give you a side mission or something to do.
Yeah, like a side quest or something.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of that. And so, yeah, I could just, a game like this, I think, is going to offer so much gameplay. I mean, so much. Just
so many different ways to play it.
Yeah.
It's like create your own adventure almost. You can like do the main story or just go off and do side quests all day. I might not even leave the first planet because I like to explore everything. Like in No Man's Sky, haven't visited too many planets because I always just like try to explore every single one, and I go in the caves. A game like this, I may never leave the first planet, Cobra. I may never. Yeah. The thing I want to see is, you've seen the prequel movies of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And like in Coruscant, you know, the higher ups, the rich people, they live like on the top of the skyscrapers, but then you kind of get down toward the bottom of like the ground level of the planet. It's in like nitty gritty. Those are the slums. Those are kind of where the people that aren't rich live. I kind of hope they do something like this with this game, where it's like up, it's all nice and shiny, and then you kind of get down on ground level, and it's like that's where the real action and like the bounty hunters are and all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm hoping some planets do something like that, which I'm sure they will.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure like you said they're kind of like mutants, something like that. I'm sure that's maybe kind of where they would hang out, be kind of in the less desirable parts of the city.
Right.
So it should be cool to explore. I'm excited. This will be a game that I will probably spend $60 on. I very rarely spend $60 on any game. I'll just like wait for it to go on sale or buy it used at GameStop. I think the only game I spent, no, there's two games. I bought Grand Theft Auto 5 for $60 on 360 because my friends made me. They're like, Adam, you got to get this game. And then I got it. We played for about 2 weeks, and then they sold their Xboxes, and they upgraded to the Xbox One or whatever. And I was just kind of sitting there, and then I never went back. And then I bought Skyrim on the original 360. I played about until I got to like level 8. Then I kept dying. I'm just not good at video games, Cobra. So I'm like, screw this. I keep getting killed by giants or whatever. So I kind of stopped playing that because I'm always like jumping on a new game, and I play a couple hours, and then I go to a new game, and then so on and so forth. But yeah, those two games, Skyrim and GTA 5, are the only games I've spent $60 on, paid full price.
Wow.
But this will probably be number 3, what I will get, as long as it's on like PC.
Yeah, it'll be like way for me too as well. I mean, if it, I will buy full price too. And it's Ubisoft, right? So there's going to be DLC and season pass and stuff like that. And whenever I see a game that has that, and that's probably why I haven't bought too many AAA titles, because I just think that's such a ripoff, and that's my own opinion. I mean, I know people.
Oh no, I feel the same way with all the DLC.
Yeah. If this is one of those games that if there is a season pass, I think I would go against my better judgment and my stance on DLC and season pass. I probably would get it. I probably would, if it's good enough. If the $60 game that I do buy, that I do pre-order, because I will be pre-ordering this game, if it does live up to a really great game, then I will have no problem purchasing a season pass.
I mean, if the game plays half as good, even a fourth as good as what it sounds like it's going to be, I'll be happy. I mean, if it's just literally Grand Theft Auto in space, visit a couple planets, but it's like, you can go anywhere, that'd be fine. If it has the scope of Grand Theft Auto in like, one city or whatever, just multiplied by like 1,000, you're getting a lot of playability with what you're spending if it is $60.
All right. I think it's going to do it. Thanks for watching us on Twitch and YouTube, and thanks for listening to us on Stitcher. If you want to listen to the podcast and you don't want it to take up so much bandwidth or use so much data or whatever, we are on Stitcher. And if you go to www.cobratvgnn.com, and our Stitcher link is there among a bunch of articles that we're putting out. Got some authors that are getting ready to start producing content over there. I would like to have content there flowing every day, if not multiple times a day, and I'm working on that. I really am. So looking forward to that. If you want to write as an author on that website, please give me a message. Send me a message on Twitter, on Facebook, or a comment in the section here on the video. And all I have to do is just add your Gmail as an author, and then you're ready to start writing. And I just need a lot of people to share their stuff. And it could be you posting your YouTube videos with a description of what's in it, things like that. So if you got a niche that you want to expose, then let me know.
They make cream for that.
All right, guys, we're going to shut it down. Everybody have a good day, and come back safe. And I guess I'll see you all in the next video.
All right,
Bye-bye.
sounds good. Have a good day, everybody.
See ya.